Pekudei Hashem Yeshorim B'samchei Lev. You learn Torah, you have the Geschmak, B'samchei Lev, Gewaldig. Bochum come, they say, L'maise, I don't have the B'samchei Lev. I don't have such a Geschmak in learning. It's mishver the learning sometimes. What's the pshat? Everything should be, you should open up the Gemara, start to learn, and simcha. And it's not like that. If you find Bochum come with a tiny, geht nicht. There are very many obstacles which can cause the lack of samchei lev. I want to speak about a few things which are necessary in order there should be the samchei lev. Number one, Shaitan in Maseches Avos and Haschen Atmecha Lilmod Torah. Prepare yourself, be metaking yourself, Lilmod Torah. So Rabbeinu says pshat on that. Whereas Haschen Atmecha Lilmod Torah, L'ma'et B'tanugim. L'ma'et B'tanugim. כדי שילמוד תורה הרבה. כמו ששנינו, כך ידעך של תורה, פס למלך תאכל, פס למלך, מים בבסורה, small amount, תשתה, ועל האורס תישן, and you sleep on the floor, וחי צעד תחיה. ובתורה אתה אומר, that's the Ma'id B'tanugim. What's the pshat? Why do you have to be Ma'id B'tanugim? So yes, you could think that means that if you have tanugim, you have to have money. If you have to have money, you have to work. If you have to work, you can't learn. No. The pshat is Ki Ma'id B'tanugim Mo Tishkoim B'Seichei Chochma. We have to understand that Torah is ruchnius, a davar ruchni. A davar ruchni, the Maharal says, Chazal say in the Aflam Chesed Nedolim, that Moshe Rabbeinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught him the Torah, and he forgot one day. Another day, he taught him and he forgot. 40 days, he taught him and he forgot, till he gave him a matana. Maharal's mazlib was Torah is a davar ruchni. Davar Ruchni doesn't automatically fit into a Davar Gashmi. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave a matana. But this matana has certain limitations. If a person is too much Gashmius, even after the matana, the Torah will not go in. If the Torah is not part of you and does not go into you, and it's a Davar Chitzoni to you, that Torah will never make Simcha. The Simcha of the Torah is if it becomes part of you. And if a person is too megushim, too gashmius, as Rabbeinu says, "Hamaber b'tudur lo tishchei b'seichei hachochma, k'mo she'omru, savor shomein ol peyovoi, ovo." It's a thick neck, doesn't go in. That's the first point. We don't mean that the person because it's a fast going to Tanesim, it means an abundance of Gashmias. The person has to have the very, very best type of food, the very best type of ice cream, the very best type of anything in Gashmias, in all areas of Gashmias. If you meet Gashmias to a great Gashmias in a big degree, it is steer to Torah. So that's the first lesson a person has to know. That it's not enough to learn. There has to be, together with that, a certain lessening of the Gashmias. Not to be a a person that makes tanes. I'm not talking about that, but a certain degree of not super gashmius. That's the first lesson. The second point. Im ein derech eretz ein Torah, says in the Chazal, in Ovis. Rabbeinu says pshat. Rotzoloymar. Shetzorich tchilo v'taken es ha-middos. First, a person has to metaken his midas. Ubezeh tishkoin Torah olav. If a Torah could be go into a person that has midas toivus. She'eino shochenes la'olam beguf she'eino bal midas toivus. If a person doesn't have the midas toivus, the guf does not take it. It's a guf which is a seer to Torah. Torah has to have a guf of midas toivus. V'lo sheyilmod ha-Torah v'achach yigach lo ha-middos, ki zui efshar. First has to be midas toivus, and develop your midas toivus, and then this Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu was zeicher to the madrege of his gewaltige madrege, that more than any other Navi, his madrege of Rabbeinu, the Chaim Volozhin is Masber, was because of his anova. The madrege of anova, that brought upon the great madrege of Nevuah, the madrege that Moshe Rabbeinu had, was because of the anova. We see here this inyan that the anova, the inyan of anova, the midas toivus, and anova is the shayrish of midas toivus. That is what brought on the big madrege of ruchnius of Moshe Rabbeinu. And midas toivus doesn't mean on a superficial basis. It means midas with an amkus. A person can live a life and live and think that he's a gewaldige onav, and at the end of the day, when it comes to Neilam Emes, they'll show me he's the biggest Baal Gaiva, as the Mesilas Yesharim speaks about that. A person does not know from where. A person has to learn what are the simonim of midas geruos. A person has to know that the Moshe Mekome. It's so postured by us. If a person insults me, I insult him back on the spot, and he doesn't realize this is the Mekome, and the Mekome is a result of Gaiva. Kas, we all know, is a result of Gaiva. Moida le'emes. A person cannot be moida le'emes. That's a result of Gaiva. A person always finds a fault in somebody. A person goes to a shir, here's a drasha. He'll always be the person to find a shtikla chsalin in the drasha. Instead of seeing the good in the drasha, he'll find the chsalin in the drasha. That's noch a simin, and that's noch a simin from Gaiva. Many simonim, if one will learn in Chayvas Alvovitz, Shara Kniyah, you'll see all the cheshbonis in the Shara Kniyah. What are the simonim that they're of Gaiva? Moida le'emes, mistapik b'muit, nena from a chaver. There are two people. All the time they're together, two chaverim, and one chaver gets a little bit higher than the other one, and he's jealous. Kinna, I said that's a chesron of gaiva. Kinner, nekoma, not moed al emes. Lo mefargen, vergent nicht. All of these are simonim. A person doesn't realize how often. I remember once, there was once in America, in Yisrael, as given up a kiddush for a chosin, I think it was. And the father of the chosin bought some candy for the little children. The B'shas Ma'is had banana from it. The Hechsher was a very, very, very frumer father, and everybody was they go from the frumer from Bnei Brak, and the father bought up the Hechsher, which was a super Hechsher. No, it wasn't super. It was a super Hechsher, super. For the kid, it was 100% a Hechsher. One of the people gave a clap to Rabbi say, I don't want to say anything. I'm not saying anything. But I listen, all the candies have only this hechsher and don't have the hechsher of the other one. The shape noch jeder is every man we took away the hechsher from the children. It dampened the entire simcha. It dampened. I heard the story. I asked, did anything happen between the two people? And they told me that the father of the chosin was once a gabay ergizvu, and he gave chamishi to their door. Chamishi had them frisch gepasst. 6 months later, he took the koma. He didn't know he was taking the koma. He made him out of a great for. But in reality, it was pure, unadulterated Nekoma. And I meant that, listen, when we're talking about Middos Toivus, we're talking about Middos Toivus Ba'amkus. To learn the Chayvas Alavavis, to know what are the Shayrish of the Middos. Oiches Sadikim, also, he tells you what are the Teitzois from Gaiva, the Teitzois from Hanova. And in that way, a person can see was benich. Mr. Shalom also speaks about it. That's a prat. The person will see in himself that he's noikim, that if his friend gives him, if his friend stucks him, he has to stuck him back. That's the comment. He doesn't realize it's the comment. The comment is gaiva. And then he's missing an element that would allow him to, that Torah should go into him. He's missing that point. So that's the second point. A third point that a person has to know. Is what steht in der Rabbeinu Yoine, in Ovos, the Posuk in steht, Yiras Hashem leishes das. Chochma und Mussar avilim bozu. Yiras Hashem leishes das. Tchilas kol das, before learning, before das, Tilmoid v'naftecho Yiras Hashem Yisborach. You have to have this Yiras Hashem Yisborach. Ki ha'chochma v'amussar, Torah and Mussar, evilim, people are not so good, bozu, they're mevazer. They're not machshav it. She'ein lem Yiras Hashem, if you have no Yiras Shamayim, a person without Yiras Shamayim could not have the real Chshivas HaTorah. The Chshivas HaTorah can only come with a person who has Yiras Shamayim. V'la fochinat. V'lo tatzliach b'limud ha'chochma. A person will not be matzliach in Torah If Torah is not choshuv in your eyes, you'll never be zeicher to Torah. We would think, why not? And it is also true what we would think, that if it's not if Torah is not a very choshuv thing in your eyes, so then when a person learns, he won't put his whole mind into it. He won't hold it. If he made a certain mistake, instead of looking to find the emes, he'll cover it up with some sort of fancy teretz, which really is not a good teretz, but he's not really so serious about the Torah. If a person looks at Torah with the most important thing in my life is Torah, and therefore I'm learning, the person looks at it that my whole tachlis in life is only to be carved like HaDor Baruch Hu, that's my whole tachlis. And the way to get to that madreg is primarily through Torah. So then Torah is choshev. But if a person does not look at his life, that his purpose in life is only to become carved like HaDor Baruch Hu, he's missing that Yiras Shamayim. If he's missing that Yiras Shamayim, he's missing the chivas HaTorah. Because Torah is choshev to a person. If a person knows that my whole purpose in life is to become close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that Torah is the only way, the best way and the only way, limud HaTorah, is to reach that madrega, so Torah is very, very choshev to him. But if a person has no Yiras Shamayim, missing Yiras Shamayim, doesn't have that feeling that this is my tachlis in life, is that going to come to reach the biggest madrega of Kiva HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Torah is not so choshev. And if Torah is not so choshev, or Rabbeinu says a person will not reach the madregas of Torah. But he says why? V'lo tiskayim b'yotcho v'nemar nochalti eidoisecho hisofson li b'heimo. The reason why I'm zoichet to Torah, nochalti eidoisecho, that becomes part of me, because sofson li b'heimo. It's a simcha for me, the Torah. And in order for Torah to be a simcha for me, I have to have chivas HaTorah. If I have chivas HaTorah, then I have the simchas HaTorah. So therefore, this is the third thing. The third thing which a person has to know is that in order for him, unter shashula, he can have Middos, he can have miniya from Gashmis, but it requires Yiras Shamayim. Unter shashula. Without the Yiras Shamayim, you cannot have the madrega of Torah that you have to have. These are the three ingredients: Yiras Shamayim, Miniyas Gashmias, Middos Tovos. Then a person because Hashem Yishom of Samchei Lev. But I must say a side thing here. Sometimes even then it won't be Mesamchei Lev, because there's another thing. A person has to learn Torah according to his seichel, according to his what he is, according to his madrega of kishroinus. Very often, a bocher has a friend. His friend is a gewaldige große amkin, and he learns Torah with a gewaldige amkis, and it's very clear to him the Torah. His friend of his. I have my friend a grace amkin, who's a grace amkin, so I'm also an amkin. So I learn deeply, but I don't have the clarity at all. If I use up that jumble abyssal, so I use all kind of fancy Londonshire words without really understanding what I'm saying. So how much knowledge can this person have? And what happens? This person learns as a year, noch a year, but by the third year it blows up. He's finished, but he sees that he's not getting anywhere. So that's my muzger. I feel that person is a tzaddik with a Middos Tovos, with Gashmis aus, but if he's not learning the right way, according to him, he also won't have. A person has to learn Torah lefi what you are, according to your kishroinus, and also physically. A person could have a chava, but he can sleep 5 hours a night, and he goes right and gewaldig. No, that's for 5 hours a night. But I'm weaker. By me, 5 hours a night, I'm halfway sleepy all day. So this person is halfway sleepy, and he's trying to learn. It's geitish. A person has to go according to his own koiches physically, And it's his own kishroin is what he has. If a person goes and learns the derech that he has, with his kishroinis, and his physical abilities, and he's moneh from gachmius to a great extent. He has Middos Toivus, and he learned the Middos Toivus. He learned the Chayvus Levavus. He knows when he's falling into Gaiva. He knows when he's making the Koma, when he has the Kinna. He knows that. And he has the Yiras Shamayim. And the Chivas HaTorah, it will be Pikudi Yishorim B'Samchei Lev. That's what a person has to have. I just want to finish with two Maimorim. One Maimor is from the Eliyahu Rabbi, that Eliyahu Hanavi says he was talking to somebody, to the person he was talking to, he wasn't so much matzliach in learning. He told Eliyahu Hanavi, I'm learning, sitting and learning. Umechaved, have a chemda, umesaver, and have a taiva, umesaper, and I'm hoping. I'm hoping I should start to steig. It's not going. That's the comes to Eliyahu Hanavi. He says it's not going. Omati loy, b'ni, loy zocho ish l'divrei Torah, elim kein moise nafshoy l'misa oleho. A person has to be ready to be moise nefesh. A person has to be moise nefesh after all is said and done that we spoke about. But a person has to be moise nefesh to push and push and push and push. Be moise nefesh the way we've stated in Tanchuma in Parshas Noach. So a person has to be b'chol levavcha b'chol nafshecha. He has to be ready to be moise nefesh in order to get Torah. After all is said. That's one maimah. The second maimah I wanted to mention, that we're talking about a person that wants to have to do all these things that we're talking about. And it's schwer. It's making my life very miserable. I have to do this, and I have to do this, I have to be moneh from gashmius, so I'm used to having gashmius, and immediate and what's so bad if I give a shtok back to a person? It's taking away my whole derech hachayim. Ubezois halo noida. Rabbi Yisrael says, he odam le'omel yumad. A person's born le'amelus. Lilchoy milchemes mitzvah. To be leichem milchemes mitzvah. V'achoy v'olov. Lisyagea b'avodas Hashem. Lo rak lishmor ma'ashem tivoy meinichoy ma'atzmoy. Not to go along in life. Whatever, the normal way I go weiter, I learn, go to yeshiva, and then I go to higher yeshiva, and I go to Yisrael, and then I came back. I go according to normal. I'm going, and I learn the way normal. Mashu ksas kvedus laniach, when it's very, very difficult for me, I leave it go. Ki bozer oifon, ein odom oived Hashem. If a person just lives normally without pushing himself, pushing, v'yuchal likorei chalila peirik oil. Yuchal likorei chalila peirik oil. Kashalo yiten shum yigir avodas Hashem yizvorach. Rabbeinu does not mean you should break yourself. It means that you should just go along the way you go. You must have goals and push yourself to those goals. That's what the Rabbeinu say. And what Eliyahu Hanavi told the Bocher, that you must be Moshe Nefesh for Torah. That's why we have to think that all of these things of Taiva, of Middos, of Yiras Shamayim, it doesn't come so easy. It comes, and not so hard. But it's not automatic. You must decide to do it and push yourself a little bit. It's not so hard, but not automatic. You must push yourself a little bit. If you push yourself a little bit, then you're over Hashem. But you just can't just go along, Rabbi Yisrael is saying. You cannot just go along. You must decide certain goals and push yourself to those goals in a normal way, with Messiahs, with the Mashkiach, with the Rosh Yeshiva, Messiahs with them, what exactly you should do. But just don't live a life of going along the way you're living. You must be Messiah. Then if a person is Messiah, and then L'Shem Shamayim, and those are the things we spoke, is B'sat the Shmayim, will be Zeicha, so Pekuz Hashem Yisharim B'samchei Lev.